Flood risk is a combination of the probability, likelihood, or chance of an event happening and the consequences impact if it occurred. Flood risk is dependent on there being a source of flooding, such as a river, a route for the flood water to take pathway, and something that is affected by the flood receptor, such as a housing estate. Without a pathway linking the source to the receptor, a flood may be a hazard, but not a risk. This concept is known as the source pathway receptor model. The likelihood of a flooding event happening can often be misleading or confusing. Return periods are often used to describe how often a flooding event will occur. But using terms such as 1 in 50 years or 1 in 500 years can mislead the public into thinking that a 1 in 50-year flood event will only occur every 50 years. Return periods are an average of how often a flood event of that magnitude will occur, and so the probability or chance of flooding should be used instead. So for example, a 1 in 50-year flood has a 2% probability of occurring in any 1 year. The consequences of a flood depend on two factors: exposure and vulnerability. Exposure is a measure of the number of people or things that may be affected by a flood, while vulnerability is a measure of the potential of people or things to be harmed. For example, the consequences of a flood will be less severe in an area with very few people, low exposure, or able to evacuate quickly and easily, low vulnerability. Flooding in an area with lots of people, high exposure, who have difficulty with evacuation, high vulnerability, is likely to have more serious consequences. Historically, some people have regarded flooding as an unforeseeable event. This has perhaps led to excessive focus on the emergency response to events and subsequent recovery. Flood risk is, however, something that can be estimated with varying degrees of uncertainty, and its effects are generally predictable. This means that the impacts can be significantly mitigated, and response and recovery can be more effective and efficient. In recent years, a step process has been initiated consisting of And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep abreast of the most important changes on the planet.